Alright YouTube, how you guys doing? Welcome to the first episode of iGlaswegian, and yes, that is correct. There is tea inside indeed, and there we go. I'm not drinking fake stuff. But this is the kind of episode where you ask the questions and I answer it, whether it be on YouTube or Twitter. Very simple. On YouTube you're going to post a comment in the comment section below, and the previous week I'm just going to go through the comments and bam 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 answer the questions. And if you want to ask on Twitter, use the hashtag AskIG, and that way I can just go back to the hashtag and see a list of all the questions you guys want me to ask. So since the majority, if not everyone, asked the questions for the first episode on YouTube, I'll make my way through YouTube. So the first question comes in from Ed Kang, and he asks, question, Soda knows best, Matt's Macintosh, John 4 Lakers, Dash, Shag, Marry and Kill. You sir, are you serious with that question? Because you're asking the wrong person. However, I can partially answer that question. If I was to kill someone, it would be from those three people with a squeaky voice. So if you know who I'm talking about, leave it in the comments below. And yeah, I am joking and real, but you are asking indeed the wrong person. The second question comes in from Id, Kel and Shaw. Have you learned how to use Final Cut Pro X yet? Yes, I believe I've been using it for the past week or so, and that's the primary application that I'm using for all my videos. I haven't touched the iMovie in a couple of days, and ScreenFlow for that matter as well, so it's just Final Cut Pro X all the way, and I'm enjoying my time. I'm liking the features, I'm liking using it. It's much more of a better experience for me, at least anyway. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. My name is Jason asks, have you ever jailbroken any of your devices? This is one of the questions I get quite a lot, both on YouTube and the live streams when I do it now and then. I do not jailbreak any of my devices simply because I can't be bothered going through that process, and I kind of just, I don't see the point in jailbreaking, to be honest. I mean, the most expensive app that I've bought is probably TomTom. And just for the sake of saving £1 or a few pennies, personally for me, I don't want to go through that hassle, and especially when you're selling your device, I like to do a fresh install and upgrades, iOS software updates. I don't see the point in it, but I know there's a lot of people out there. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. That's not for me, but I know some people it is quite handy. Moving along, I'm curious, why did your parents name you Zen? How long have you been using Macs, and what is your job? Well, I don't know why my parents' name is Zen. It was just, I guess, it was a cool name for a cool person. How long have I been using Macs? I've been using Macs since late 2008, and by Macs I mean just the MacBook. That was my first MacBook. My first iPod, for that matter, was in 2007. It was a second generation iPod Nano. So my first Mac was a MacBook Aluminium Unibody. That was a new type that was released at that time. Before that it was the white polycarbonate MacBooks, so this was one of the next generation MacBooks. And what is your job? Surprisingly, this is a question that I get quite a lot as well. So I'd done my degree in MSc Marketing in late 2009, and since then I've kind of been working on both YouTube, making videos, and doing kind of a part-time social media for local businesses. I've been advising them. However, I've given up the social media kind of part-time job, and I've been working on a project in itself, and it's called IGear, which I'll talk about in a minute because some of you actually asked about it and what is going on with it. So yes, to answer your question, I make videos for my main tech channel, and secondly been working on kind of a new project, which you will all hear about pretty soon, and some of you are in touch with it already. Moving up, someone else asked about jailbreaking. It is also, I've just answered that a few questions ago. Why do you prefer Macs to PCs is asked by, wow, what a cool name, the Zen 123 or the Zen 213. I prefer Macs because I find the experience much better, less hassle free. I like the software. I like how the software, the operating system, the apps, and how well it goes with the actual hardware itself. They're less buggy in my opinion, and generally an overall better experience all round, and that is why I like Macs over Windows machines. What does Glaswegian mean? Mean with 2 E's, and this is asked by, my name is Jake. Glaswegian is someone who is basically from Glasgow, referred to Ian Glaswegian. Do I play Minecraft? No, and I don't stand people who can play Minecraft either. Hate on that question, on that answer, down in the comments below. Are the new 2011 iMacs faster than a Mac Pro? Apparently that's been done by some review sites, saying that, you know, it can beat off the low end Mac Pro, or depending on how you configure it with SSD, you know, better graphics card, better processor, it can match a Mac Pro, which is insane if you ask me. TJ is Cool asks, would you recommend a MacBook Air over an iPad for schooling, or really a Mac laptop overall? I would recommend a MacBook Air for a few reasons. The iPad is good to a certain extent. You know, the MacBook Air now with Line coming out, you'll get much more of a better experience. So you'd really have all the multi-touch gestures and, you know, the Mac App Store, the Launchpad and everything. So you'll be combining both an iPad and iOS plus, you know, a proper full-size desktop. And the MacBook Air is definitely great for typing out those school essays, doing your homework, rather than touching a screen all the time. Yes, you can get a keyboard, but you're really restricted to the actual screen. And, you know, the screens, for me at least, the MacBook Air, the best screen that I've seen on any device. Danny C440 asks, have I ever ate haggis? No, I've never ate haggis. iBiggie asks, can you do a life in the day of Zen? I've already done that, and that was done a few days ago, so if you haven't seen it, it is on the screen. This is hands down one of the videos where I spent a lot of time on it, and I enjoyed making it. It was quite fun, and editing was an absolute breeze. And it's one of the videos that I would kind of never forget doing. It was just really cool putting it together. And moving on, do you use a MacBook Air or Pro more? The MacBook Air is used quite a lot in conjunction with the iMac, which is pretty much on all the time, 24/7, or at least from 9 AM to 8 PM. And yes, that is indeed my iPhone 4 going off, so let me check. Next question is from MiniMK97, and he or she asks, are you a virgin? The question is, are you a virgin? That is the larger question, I guess. RossCumFC asks, what is the best editing software for Windows? When I was on a Windows side for a good couple of years, I never really edited videos. I only got my hands dirty with the video stuff when I came over to Mac. Windows Movie Maker is horrible, we all know that. You could try Sony Vegas, I believe a lot of people use that. Or try some of the Adobe Premiere stuff for the Windows side. But don't rely on any kind of Microsoft video software, because you aren't going to get anywhere. So this next question is quite interesting. It comes from the Apple fan for life, and he's basically saying he's currently using iMovie and he's wondering if it's the best thing to go out and buy the new Final Cut X Pro for $299. He's wanting to get into the YouTube area, and he's basically saying, is it worth it? Is it really going to get him help noticed? In my opinion, you know, the editing software does kind of play part in the overall thing of how good you do on YouTube, because, you know, it just looks more professional. But you might find that, you know, spending that $299 US towards a better camera and better audio equipment, that would probably do you better. iMovie 11 is great. You know, I've edited all my videos through that for the past year and a half or so, and it's done me well. So saying Final Cut Pro X, is it going to bring in, you know, new numbers? Not really. I mean, I would personally, if I was in that situation, I would spend it towards better camera, better lighting equipment. That is just me, knowing, you know, iMovie works absolutely great. And then, you know, once you've got that up to scratch, then think about, okay, you can invest in Final Cut Pro X. Let Apple kind of iron all the, you know, negative stuff about it just now. Don't jump the gun just now. And spend that money wisely on, you know, better stuff. Scott1990 asked a similar question, what, you know, made me start on YouTube? And it was this, you know, when I was getting my first Mac, there was a lack of videos on the Mac, you know, going back a few, 2 years ago almost. And that is when I started slowly, you know, wasn't taking it seriously. I seen some other videos from DRB UK, who was a big, or still is, a tech YouTuber. He made some good content, and I thought I could do the same. Got my first MacBook, and I thought it'd be good to unbox it and talk about it, give my thoughts on it. And back then there weren't that many people doing it, but now you've got everyone and their dogs doing it. So yeah, it was just kind of looking at the market, opportunity, take it and kind of go along with it. Something that I enjoy. If I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be sitting here just for the sake of thinking, you know, I've got to put a video up today, I must do something, must put out anything. I do what I like. I put the series up because I genuinely like it, and yeah, it's just that momentum that you need to kind of have, or that stamina to keep on going. Robert X Davis asked what got me going into Macs and what was my first Apple product. Both of those questions have been asked as well. How do you play your Xbox on your Mac is asked by Phase Your Design. You can get a Canex XD, which I reviewed about a year ago, and that works quite nicely. The only downside to that is it only plays it in 720p. That's why I've got this TV in my room that you can't see, it's off screen. I connect my Xbox up to that and I get the full 1080p, and you know, the TV was actually less expensive than the Canex XD. So it depends if you can get a second hand one, and if you're really restricted in space, you just want to play the Xbox on your Mac because you don't have enough space, then it's great. But if you can fork out for a TV, go for a TV and get the full 1080p, not to mention the Freeview, the HD channels, and dual screens for the win. Next question is from Propel1024, and basically he's asking whether it's wise to upgrade to Line the day it comes out. He's on a MacBook Pro, that's kind of irrelevant, but you know, I think it is. £20, it's not expensive, go and get it, get into the heart of it from day one. So moving on, Mr. Wizard 8778 asked whether I can do another video online, show some of the other features. Yes, as the answer to that question, I will do another video. I've made a video online showing some of the main features. If you haven't seen it, it is on your screen for your viewing pleasure. What do I say at the end of my videos and why? I say I will see you guys in another life, and that is kind of taken from Lost. If you haven't seen Lost, I don't know what to say to you, sir. Why won't you join my Xbox Live Party Killer Cookie? I won't join it because I have got 100 people on my list, and I can only join one at a time. I don't want to be joining one and then halfway through it quitting. So as soon as I usually go onto Xbox Live, I get a ton of invites. I usually go to one, stick around for 1 or 2 games, and then move on. The best thing to do is, if you're on my Xbox friends list, then join the session rather than inviting me into a different lobby, because that is kind of annoying, I won't lie. But as of recently, I've cleaned out some of the list, some of the people who haven't joined for 4 or 5 or more days. There was a guy who hadn't logged in for like 25 days, which was amazing. So needless to say, he got removed. So you know, if you don't, you know, if you're not signing in for a while, I will delete you to make way for other people. Don't take it personally, I just want to give everyone a chance to kind of get in on session or game with me. Right. Moving on, You Big Nonce asks, yo IJ, I'm not IJ, but we do make a good couple, I may add. What would I prefer, a bowl of sugar or a bowl of ice cream? Bowl of sugar any day of the week. What car do I drive? I drive the Saab something, I don't know what it is. It's a 1.9, it's a diesel, and I've recently made a video on Copilot, which is a navigation application. If you haven't seen it, it's on the screen. But it's a Swedish car. Yep, so it's a Saab. Next question from iPhone ABC. Do I like pancakes? No. James Michael Billings asks, should I get a 21.5-inch base model or a 27-inch? You're going to be doing schoolwork, you're going to be playing games like Black Ops, Portal, GTA, etc. And you want to carry this about. Trust me, you don't want to be carrying a Mac around. But if you do, the 21.5-inch is going to be less of a pain. Trust me, I've carried that into an Apple store and it was one of the worst things. And I guess the weather here in Glasgow didn't help either. But if you're going to be moving around with your Mac, you probably want to consider it a low end, or I say a low end by the size of the bag. The bigger the better, and in your case, the smaller the better. Insert laughter here. But you know, the 21.5-inch is definitely going to be easy for you to carry around, so you might want to go with the high-end 21.5-inch just for those games. I mean, I've played games here on the MacBook Air and they've just kind of scraped it, or if you're playing Call of Duty 4 it works well. But if you're going to be playing a lot of, you know, recent games, you might notice some, you know, lag issues because it won't handle it. So then you may want to consider the 27-inch, but you can't carry it about. My suggestion to you would be, sir, to get an iMac 21.5 inch, or better, get a MacBook, and then get a games console for the gaming. That's what I do, and that's just the way it is. But if you're just going for an iMac and nothing else, 21.5 inch. Matt Joyce asks quite an interesting question. He's talking about the Google Chrome netbooks, and he's asking whether, you know, Apple could do the same, a competition to the Google Chromebook. Of course, the Chromebook works through the internet connection, and that's where you log in and stuff. I don't think Apple's going to get into it. I personally would not like to use that kind of machine, because Wi-Fi is not that widespread. I mean, I'm using one of these here right now, but it's, you know, I have to put this on, it takes a minute to go on, and I don't want to be relying on files that are stored somewhere else, and I need to, let's say if I'm in, you know, doing a presentation, internet's slow, my stuff's not opening up, so I'm not going to be relying on it heavily, and I don't think Apple is going to go into it yet. I think they're going to kind of see how well it pans out, and judging by the numbers they've sold so far, it's not that been great. I think they're going to push more of the iCloud stuff, but not the entire operating system, which is kind of a pain. So this next question is quite interesting. I must say I get this question asked quite a lot. What do you work as which allows you to get so many expensive Apple products? You know, throughout my day I get, you know, at least one or two people asking me this, and some YouTubers that I've met in person, you know, they get asked the same question. Unfortunately, the formula Apple products equals multi-millionaire or Steve Jobs billionaire, well off, that does not, you know, equate to that. I wish it did, I wish that was the case, but unfortunately not. You know, with my Macs I kind of recycle them, so this MacBook Air, once the new ones come out, when I sell it, I'll roughly get about the same amount that I paid for it, or at least that's worked out in the past. You know, I've sold the iPad, the previous Macs that I had, and you know, I've made kind of a profit on one or two devices, and I've made a video on how to get the most out of your Mac. I've broke even on some products, and I've not lost out on one at the moment. I might lose out on the MacBook Air because I intend on keeping it 2 weeks after the new ones come out. But in general, when I kind of recycle them, that's the main thing. But it's not true, you know, I don't drive around in a Ferrari or a Porsche or got some sort of, you know, Matrix style Macs or anything. It's just two Macs, guys. That's it, and an iPhone 4 and maybe an iPad 2, but you know, it doesn't equal me being rich by any means. Ask IG, in iOS 5 have Apple made any improvement to contacts such as grouping contact within the app? I have not used iOS 5 yet. And that is the reason because I don't really like using the first or second betas because they're kind of buggy. I like using the Gold Master, which is the kind of the solid build, which is the build before the public release, which is more or less finalised. So once the Gold Master comes out, or one of the really polished one comes out, I'll give it a check and most probably make a video on it. So Grayson asks whether he should get his first MacBook Pro right now or wait until Lion, and what is the benefit of having Lion pre-installed. The only benefit is if you're in a really crap area and you've got poor internet speeds, then having Lion pre-installed means you don't have to install Lion, or download Lion, sorry, which is a hefty file in itself. Other than that, there's no benefit. So if you've got a good internet connection, buy your MacBook Pro now and do not wait any longer. The G-Back asks whether it's possible to take out the aluminium surrounding the MacBook Air, which is this part here, and putting a black one in similar to what's found in a MacBook Pro. I don't know why you would want to do that, and I'm sure you can't do that, but you can always put some sort of black decal or a sticker on, such as from, you know, Diablo Skins or maybe Chromatics, similar to what I've got in here. Best to email these guys and see if they can make you a custom skin. I don't know, I personally like the silver thing, that might just be me, but you can't do that yourself. You can't, because it's so friggin' thin, you're probably going to end up damaging it. So I would steer clear. Ek206 asked, iMac or MacBook Pro? Depends on what you need it. If you're a student, go for a MacBook Pro, so you're mobile, you can carry it around with you to a library, to lectures, to group work, and you know, external sites. Travelling between home to your campus, much easier. If you're carrying an iMac, good luck to you, sir, because it's not the easiest of things to carry around. The MacBook Pro is going to give you best of both worlds. You can hook up an external display, a TV, and you know, have dual displays that way. So the MacBook Pro is always a good option. And lastly, coming from the YouTube comments, how are babies made? I thought they just came out automatically. So now moving on to some Twitter questions, all 3 Twitter questions. Will there be a bump in price when the MacBook Airs are refreshed? With Apple, the good thing is once something's refreshed, it's not too much of a difference. It's usually the same, but sometimes it's plus or minus $10 or $20 or £10 or £20. Or if in the UK actually it's more or less £40, usually double. But it's not that far off, and if you are looking for a MacBook Air, you're wondering whether you should wait, I would definitely recommend you waiting for 2 reasons. Even if you don't like the new refreshes for whatever reason, you'll get the previous generation, which is the current generation, for a lower price because a new one is in the market. And secondly, you know, if you do end up liking the new one, then, and if you've already bought the previous one, you won't be kicking yourself as hard. So it's best to kind of wait it out. There's been so many rumours on the MacBook Air, and we are definitely going to see a refresh this month sometime. So Jason Davis is the second person and the last person on Twitter who asked a question, and he asked what is happening with IGear. IGear will be released, or details of how you can order the IGear will be released within the next 10 days. I will be taking shipment of the IGear product, or the jacket, this week sometime, as seen from these pictures. So stay tuned. I know there's been a lot of kind of delay in it. Basically the idea was to get this launched by December of 2010. However, the time got closer, I wasn't happy with the quality, hence I didn't go ahead with the order, so I had to change factories and delays that occurred that way, and it was a bit hard sourcing some of the stuff that I wanted. But now it's ready, it's off the production line, it's sitting at Shanghai airport somewhere just now. It's going to be shipped out by air, the entire kind of quantity, and it should be up on the website soon. If you have no idea what it is, head over to iGear.com, register your interest. There's an email section. I've got a separate YouTube channel and Twitter channel for that. I'd appreciate it, you know, if you can show some interest in it, and I'm sure you guys won't be disappointed once it's out. But guys, that's it all for the Ask iGlaswegian series. I'd appreciate if you can ask some questions on Twitter. It's, you know, make most of both Twitter and YouTube. If you still want to ask on YouTube, of course, leave it in the comments and I'll go through it. I'd like to say thanks to everyone who kind of commented on the previous video. Otherwise I would probably be doing this. But since you guys like it, I'll kind of continue on, and hopefully this will be... I'll answer anything that you guys ask, be it the craziest of questions. And it's more of a one-to-one, it's not going to be heavily edited as my reviews are. Just something I can just have a cup of tea. It's finished now, and I didn't drink much of it on screen, I may add, and that's because I was having a few internet problems. But guys, that's it really. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in another life. Cheers.